Am I the butthole for reporting my mom for identity fraud? I'm a 24-year-old guy, and my girlfriend put in an application to rent a condo, and she found out that my mom borrowed $43,000 using my social insurance. I talked with a lawyer, and he told me that I could either report my mom for identity fraud, pay it off, or declare bankruptcy. I confront my mom, and she begged me not to do it, and to just pay off the debts. I don't have anywhere near that money, so I decided to do what the lawyer recommended. The lawyer told me that filling out the police report is not the same as pressing charges, but I'm still scared about what might happen to her. We used to be very poor, and she used my social insurance to pay the bills and provide for me and my brother. This feels like I'm betraying her, and her and my brother refuse to speak to me. My relatives have all stopped talking to me. Am I the butthole here? Am I the butthole for pretending to not know my grandparents? Just for some background information, I'm a 19-year-old girl, and when I was 4 years old, my dad died. At his funeral, my dad's parents told me, my mom, and my sister that we are the reason why he died. They also kept his life insurance money that was supposed to go to my sister and I. Since then, my grandparents have refused contact with all three of us, and the only form of contact I have with them is them sending me and my sister a $50 gift card to Walmart twice a year, on my birthday and on Christmas. The last time I received a gift card from them was on my 10th birthday, and it was for Babies R Us. I haven't heard from them since. They live in Florida and I live in New York, so I have no chance of seeing them either, at least I thought. Fast forward to 3 days ago, I was in Walmart near my house to get a few things for my mom. When I walked past the pharmacy, I saw my dad's parents. I tried to hide in the aisles because I didn't want confrontation, but they saw me anyway. They started asking me a bunch of questions about my family's financial situation and college and if I'm married yet, stuff like that. I responded by saying, I have no idea who you are. They looked angry and shocked by this, but they told me who they were. I told them that I had no desire to talk to them, and I didn't have anything to say to them anyway. I started walking away and was just going to leave it alone, but then they said, "You are so disrespectful. We are your grandparents, and you need to treat us better than that. Your mom did a terrible job with you." After that comment, I turned around and went off on them. I said, "You are not my grandparents because you abandoned my sister and I after telling us that we're the reasons for our dad's death and you stole his money from us. Don't you dare talk about my mother either because she did an amazing job with us without any help from you two. I'd be happy with never seeing your sorry faces again." I started to walk away again and I heard my grandmother start to cry, but I kept walking. Am I the butthole? They're technically my grandparents, but they did so many things that are unforgivable. Am I the butthole for kicking my brother's fiancée out of my car on her engagement night? My brother's engagement dinner was last night. I do not like his fiancée for several reasons. She's just mean and brutally honest with her comments about my life, always trying to belittle me every chance she gets. Like, she belittles my degree and my living situation. I try to be civil, but I have a temper, and sometimes I can be mean back. My wife recently passed away from breast cancer. We bought a car, and it was the first decent car that I've ever owned, and my wife and I didn't make a lot of money, so it was a challenge to save up for it. My wife picked that car, so I make sure to keep it maintained regularly. My brother's fiancée made comments about it, calling it a piece of junk, and it hurt because it was part of mine and my wife's past. When the party was over, my brother didn't want to take an Uber. He wanted me to give them a ride, and I said okay, but his fiancée stood there saying that she wasn't going to ride in that piece of junk on her engagement night. I got really annoyed by that comment, and my mom, who was in the passenger seat, did too. My brother spent 5 minutes convincing her, and she finally got inside the car. But she didn't stop with her constant criticisms about how awful and dirty my car was, continuously calling it a piece of junk. My brother didn't say anything, so I made eye contact with her through the rearview mirror and said that if she called my car a piece of junk one more time, she's out. I don't care if I drop her off in the middle of nowhere. My brother's fiancée went quiet for a few minutes. Then she commented on the necklace that was hanging from the rearview mirror, calling it ugly, asking why I'd hang cheap, ugly stuff to make this piece of junk even uglier. I effing had it. That necklace belonged to my wife, for Christ's sake. I got mad, so I stopped the car and told her to shut the F up and get the F out. My brother asked if I was serious, while my mom was trying to get me to continue driving. I repeatedly told her to get out, but she didn't. So I got out, walked over, and opened the door for her to step out. She started crying, and my brother called me nuts for acting out like that. I told both of them to get out, and they did. I drove off, and my mom didn't stop yelling, saying that I can't leave them on the street. They just got engaged. She told me to turn around and pick them up, but I screamed at her to stay the F out of it or she'll join them. She told the family what I did, and my dad was pissed, saying that it was disgraceful to do this to my brother and his fiancée, and I should be ashamed of myself for making a scene on their engagement night. He said that I need serious help for my anger, and I should have just sucked it up until I got home. I just walked out on my dad mid-argument. I'm sure my brother doesn't want to see me for letting him down on such a special night in his life, but his fiancée was being disrespectful. So, was I the butthole?
I know a woman who was dating a child-free man. He was adamant about not ever having children, while she was crazy about the opposite. She punctured condoms, stopped birth control, while pretending she never stopped, and lied about her period dates. Poor guy thought her birth control and the condoms he was using would keep him safe, but she got pregnant anyway. He doesn't know. He's miserable. I have 3 older sisters and 1 younger brother. When I was younger, about 11, I was supposed to be sleeping over at my aunt's house because my parents were at a wedding and knew they would probably come home drunk. Anyways, I got upset with my cousin, so I snuck out of the house and walked home. I was sleeping when I was awoken by my parents arguing in the living room. I was always a nosy child, so I sat up listening and I heard my dad say, "Why would you do this to me after I helped you fight in court for my older sister's name, then helped you raise her and love her as my own?" Then I heard my mum tell him to never bring that up again. Then I heard a door slam. Up until then, I always thought we all had the same father. Even to this day, 12 years later, I'm the only one out of my siblings that know my oldest sister is not my father's biological daughter. I don't even think my sister knows. I just couldn't bring myself to even tell her. I don't even think my parents know I know. They didn't even know I was home that night. I pretended to just be getting home later on that morning. I have never told anyone.
Am I the butthole for calling my husband delusional for expecting me to rehire the babysitter after she read our daughter's journal? My husband and I work long shifts. We have 3 kids, and for years we've been hiring babysitters of different kinds to help the kids. My oldest child is my 14-year-old daughter, Lauren. She's been going through a rough phase after her best friend passed away from leukemia in December. It hugely impacted her. She received therapy for 2 months and is doing better now, but grief has no timeline and she misses her bestie so much. I do all I can to be available and lend a comforting shoulder. We got her a new journal to write down her thoughts and feelings, and she's been doing a lot better since she had it. We were looking for a babysitter, and my husband suggested his friend's 17-year-old daughter. I knew her, so I said yes right away. She worked for us for a few weeks, and she would sometimes tease Lauren about her being uptight, never smiling, and giving her the nickname Grinch. I told her to stop it, but she said that she was just messing with her, trying to get her to cheer up. No biggie. Days ago, while I was working, Lauren called me and was crying, saying that I needed to come home. I freaked out, and when I got there, I saw the babysitter sitting with the kids and Lauren was upstairs. She said the babysitter took her journal and started reading it out loud in front of the kids while recording herself. I was extremely pissed off. I asked the babysitter, and she said that she was just messing with Lauren and showing her that it was okay to speak emotions out loud instead of bottling them up. She really thought that she was helping Lauren overcome her fear of expressing herself. I yelled at her, saying that this wasn't her place and that she caused more trouble than ever. She apologized and swore that she deleted the video, but I told her that she could no longer work for us and she had to leave. She broke down crying and apologizing to me and Lauren, but I refused to let her keep her job. And I know that Lauren doesn't want her to be around anymore. My husband came home, and he was upset that I fired the babysitter, reminding me that this was his friend's daughter and I shouldn't have fired her. He argued that I handled this the wrong way and that I should have been the adult in the situation instead of yelling and kicking her out. I explained what she did to Lauren, but he said, "I agree with you on this. She should have known better, but she didn't. Kids her age make mistakes. What's done is done. She's apologized, so we should give her another chance." He kept going on about how this impacted his friendship of 14 years. Also, we're now without a babysitter, and T has a trip this week, so I have no choice but to let her come back. But I said no, she will never step foot in this house again. He called me unreasonable, as if I'm acting like I get to decide everything and that he doesn't get to have an opinion. He said this is his house too. I ended up calling him delusional for expecting me to rehire her after the stunt she pulled on Lauren. And I will not let that happen because my daughter has to feel comfortable in her own home. He got very upset for what I said and has stopped speaking to me. Am I the butthole?
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.